Hey, Mama. So, with it being quarter 1, I know many of you are either in launch mode or preparing for a launch. And one aspect of having an effective launch, a launch in which you actually see conversions, is writing great sales copy. And so, if you want to learn how to write sales copy that attracts your dream clients and moves them to action, today's episode is for you. I chat with positioning expert and lead copywriter Jillian Anderson about writing great sales copy and choosing a launch plan that is right for you. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Hey, Mama. Welcome to Marketing Without Socials for Moms, the go-to podcast for moms in business who want to stop relying on social media to build their business and build it in a way that fits their current season of life. I'm your host, Andrea Singletary, a wife, mama of 2, and visibility strategist for moms. Each week, I'm giving you the inside scoop on how to increase your visibility, leads, and sales through podcasting, email marketing, and collaborations. Ready to truly make social media optional in your business? Grab your chai tea latte and let's dive into today's episode. All right, I'm sitting down to chat with Jillian Anderson, and we are going to be talking all about sales copy. So how to write great sales copy and really developing a launch plan. So Jillian, welcome to the show. Please tell us about yourself, who you are, what you do, and all about your family.
Thank you so much for having me on, Andrea. I'm excited to be here. So I am a positioning expert and a lead copywriter with over 8 years experience in the industry. I, like probably all of your listeners, got started when my son was born was he born in 2014? My son was born, and at that time, I was in the holistic wellness industry. I was a massage therapist and abdominal massage specialist, and my work was all about correcting the suboptimal positioning of the uterus in the pelvic cavity. So I had a busy practice. I was sought after. At the height of that career, I was seeing 40 clients a week. I actually hit 80K a year in that practice. And I was young. I was in my early 20s and I thought I was so cool. I was like, yes. I was thriving. I was doing great. When my son was born, I could not go back to that career. And that was kind of like hitting a brick wall. I was super confused. No one prepared me for that. No one said, you're not going to be able to go back. I was not under anyone's mentorship in terms of like a wise woman who was preparing me for motherhood. So I really kicked and flailed. I struggled going from very independent with my own money, very ambitious, of course, because I thought that money was always going to be there. I didn't save for maternity leave. I didn't prepare for that at all. And so, here I am with this small child, breastfeeding. And I knew I wanted to maintain our attachment. I wanted to be present. I wanted to breastfeed as long as possible. I enjoyed his presence on my body and me on him. We were in a deep harmony. I wanted to maintain that strong connection and that strong bond. I was not willing to hand him to a stranger. I was not willing to hand him to a daycare. That's me personally. I just took to the computer to try to figure out how do I make money from home. So this was 2015. And back then, with my background as a holistic health practitioner and abdominal massage specialist, I got kind of swept into this more popular thing back then, which was like make money from your blog. So it was like make money from blogging. And I was like obsessed with that. I'm like, yes, I have a background in writing. I was an English major and a psych minor in college before I dropped out to pursue the massage therapy career. And that's a different story, but I loved psychology. I loved writing. And I thought, maybe I'll write about the holistic wellness information that I have discovered. And I started to do that. And then I quickly built a 6-figure annual year business. I had to, on the way to that level, drop the idea of monetizing my blog, but that is a totally different tangent, I guess.
Yeah.
I was so obsessed with monetizing my blog and getting traffic and having, back then it was you were going to have traffic to your blog and you were going to have advertisements and those ads were going to pay you. So I dropped all of that and went into making up my own offers. And it was a combination of, live group programs, a digital program, some low ticket, an in-person event. Those were the kinds of things that got me to that 6 figures a year annual revenue. I was able to repeat that. At this time in my business, I took a couple years off to kind of soul search a little bit after my second child was born. I have two. And I was soul searching about alignment, what I really wanted to talk about, and what I really wanted to do. And when I came back, I re-entered the marketplace as a copywriter. So that brings me to today. And now I'm looking to go to the mid multi 6-figure a year type of business, level of a business, and then up. That's personally, where I'm at and where my mind is at.
Awesome. I know your story, one, it resonated with me, but I know it'll resonate with the listeners too. Especially just being ambitious and then, stepping into this role of mom and your priorities shift and everything. Because similar to you, when I found out I was pregnant with my son, I was I can't go back. I can't continue the 9 to 5. Because I worked as a preschool director, and being a salaried employee, you get the calls all throughout the day and the night. You're always have to be available and whatnot. And it's I didn't want that. I wanted to be the present mom and everything. So it's amazing hearing your journey, how you've pivoted and look at, where you're at now. And so I'm so excited to talk about what it is that you do now. And so we know as business owners, writing copy is a huge part of it. We cannot get around that, from writing your copy for your sales pages to writing copy for your content. It's something we can't skip or ignore. And so I would love to hear from you. What are some common mistakes business owners are making in their copywriting?
Yeah, great question. There are a lot of mistakes that I am constantly correcting or cleaning up. And there's different levels of mistakes and different mistakes for different, different goals, right? So I would say, do you want to talk launch copy mistakes, funnel copy mistakes, overall mistakes? What do you think?
Since we're focusing more on launching, let's talk launch copy mistakes.
Okay. So sometimes with copywriting, the way that I approach this is my perception is good copy can only follow good positioning. And so I actually have to pull people back a little bit sometimes and say the copy is only going to be as good as the positioning. So let's look at the positioning of your offer before you try to fill in the copy gaps or try to improve the copy. Is the offer itself on the right shelf, in the right light, and is it articulated in the right way? I like to start with the bones of the positioning with my clients so that we really can ensure, a number of things. Is this offer built to be profitable? Is it positioned to be, a win-win? Immediately that win-win is perceived by the reader. Can they immediately see the ROI? What problem does this solve? And so we work a lot on a problem-solution framework first. And I find that going through the bones, almost like the spine and the structure of an offer's positioning, then allows us to write incredible copy. If I try to do it the other way around and just try to improve copy without going into the bones of the offer and changing some things, I just find that it's not as effective and powerful. So some copywriting mistakes that I'm constantly correcting to just kind of, shift into that is people will go and describe the what, they'll go and describe the features, and they'll be 80% on that. And what we really want to do and what we really want to see is a strong invitation into your reader's aspirations, her future, her desires. And we do that through a combination of things. We do that through frameworks, and we also do that through what I call future painting, where we're painting a picture of her future and we're strongly inviting her to step into that. I also increase the potency of my clients' copywriting by naturally and ethically guiding the reader into making a decision. And I rely on, sometimes gently confronting the reader about what she's done settling for, what she's done with, what she's, I'm done with this. I'm done with X. I'm ready for Y, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about decision making. Good copywriting is something that, you can master it really is sales. So it's sales in writing. And so sales psychology, if you listen to sales calls, right? If you see the phases that the person is in and a sales call is just an example, right? We can have sales calls in the DMs. We could do sales any which way we want. The levels and the layers that a person goes through during the buying process are similar, whether it's DM or on a sales call. So the copywriting is supposed to be that really dialed in salesperson. And so we're supposed to make this strong case of like, this is what we are inviting you into. A lot of my clients will go and describe the what. We're having a masterclass, the features, it'll be recorded, all this kind of stuff isn't sales, it's not that sales angle. And I find my clients are sometimes they're relatively modest. They don't want to brag and they don't want to like be too much. So what we're getting is kind of like flat, stale vanilla. And I can come in and for whatever reason, because I'm an outsider, I can come in and edge them forward. Like, this is what I want to say. This is what I want to invite them into. This is what I see the ROI is through, voice of customer research that I do. And it's really cool to see that my clients will their inner world can start to transform based on what I am suggesting. Their mindset about what they're selling, their feeling about what they're selling, and their overall perception of what they're selling can change. So describing the features, right? In the industry, they say benefits over features. Another mistake is using our language when we could use our customer's language. The way our customer is describing her problem is 8 out of 10 different than the way we describe the problem. Another mistake is not addressing what your reader or potential customer has already tried. What has this person already tried that didn't work? Why didn't it work? And how is your offer different or more in depth or next level or more effective, right? So those are some of the things. I know I'm going on and on.
No worries.
I also have been correcting a lot of maybe in the last week. So in the last 2 weeks, actually, I have been working on a funnel optimization for a 7-figure business owner. Her funnel's converting. It's a 6-figure per year funnel. She's got a couple of those. But in her copy, there's a lot of maybe. And I'm like, this has got to go. Even people at every level can optimize their copy for higher sales and conversions. And so she had maybe this, maybe you're feeling that, maybe this, maybe you feel this. And I can't get on board with the maybe. I'm like, we have to cut this and speak, because if you use maybe, the reader is looking at it now from a bird's eye view. She's removed herself from the copy and she's now looking at it like she's talking to a lot of different people. She's not really talking to me, So those are some of the ones on my mind.
Those are really, really good. And yeah, the maybe, that one I see a lot too. I've been guilty of it myself, but it's so true. It's like you have to make sure you're speaking to a specific person. So the maybe it's like you're trying to include every single potential person who will be like a good fit for the offer. But I love your approach in that you don't start with fixing the copy, you dig deeper because it's so true. Like without that positioning, it doesn't matter how great the copy is. So, like, really digging into the offer and making sure, like you were saying, that it's something that's going to be profitable, something that's actually going to sell. Because even with the best copy, if it's not an offer your ideal person wants, you're not going to make the sales and then you're going to be frustrated. And so I haven't seen many copywriters do that. So I love that you provide that additional service to your clients and everything. So digging into more about like writing sales copy, there's been a lot more talks about like writing ethical sales copy. You know, that word is thrown out a lot. So talk to us about like what does that actually mean? Like what does it mean to write ethical sales copy and what does it look like to write unethical sales copy?
Yes. Okay. Great question. So there's a lot of people in the industry right now who they think they're against pain point marketing. They're like, no pain point marketing because I don't want to be manipulative. And I'm like, it's so funny because in the industry, when you've been in the industry for a while, you realize that people are quickly trying to create their own sales angles, why their thing is better, which is what we all do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of people who are like, no pain point marketing. And it's interesting because the way that I look at it is that you can use a problem empathy framework where you are addressing the person's problem, their challenges. You are establishing empathy with them. And establishing that empathy with them does require touching that deep place where they may be struggling. And I tell my clients and my readers, there is absolutely nothing wrong with touching that deep place inside of your reader where she's really, looking for something more or struggling or having a challenge. There's nothing unethical. If you were about that, if you were sitting in a room with someone and you knew, they had this certain problem and you were able to talk to them about it, you can't even empathize with them until you actually bring up the deep challenge or the core problem. And so I like to tell my readers, look, I use a problem empathy formula. It's actually problem empathy solution. The traditional formula that's really taught to copywriters is actually problem agitate solution. And I just take a problem empathy solution approach. And so it's nuanced, it's slightly different, but I'm not trying to agitate their pain as much as I am just bringing it out, the elephant in the room, addressing whatever problem it is, addressing whatever thing, and then shifting into empathizing with them. Where copywriting can get unethical is in two areas, I find. Copywriting, some of these, and I'll give it a clear example, but it can get unethical when, and this is obvious, when there's a promise or a claim made that's dishonest. Okay. That's the first thing. If you're being honest about what your offer is and how you're going to deliver it, all those details, you're doing good. If there's any lying, there you go. Like that's, there's that. So that's like an obvious one. But then the other unethical one I've found is like, it's like almost shame based. It's not touching on the pain, but it goes into this whole shaming thing where the person isn't just touching on the pain. The copywriter or the copy isn't just touching on the pain and touching on the challenge. It's like twisting the knife. And I'll give a clear example. So years ago, I was in this sales funnel. I've been studying funnels for years, and I was in this particular sales funnel. This was for a big leader in the women's health space, and her entire promotion for this one offer was really making me feel a certain way. It was quite interesting. I got really into like tuning into like, what is different about this copy and this promotion? This is odd. I'm feeling worse about myself the more I read this. It's like I'm feeling horrible. So, I got into it and I realized that the like psychology in some of her messaging was about amplifying the shame of not being certified with her program. Yes. It was like shame on you for being in this industry, and it was a women's health, offer. Shame on you for being in this industry and not being up to par with my offer. It was very different. And to this day, I wonder if that was just some copywriter she hired to do this thing and she didn't write that copy. I would guess, that would be my guess. I'm 90% that because of her level and because of her expertise that she probably hired out that copy. But that felt manipulative, like shaming if you don't sign up with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely see that a lot. Especially like the shaming. Like I've gotten to the point, like if your content makes me feel bad, I'm unfollowing you. But I love your approach where you do point out the problem, but then you come in with that empathy piece and the solution. And I think that's so important. Like your ideal client, like they want to make sure that if they invest in you, they're going to feel good about it at the end of the day, not get into this offer and it's like you're still shaming them, making them feel bad and whatnot. And so that empathy piece is so important, but you do have to talk about the problem, right? Because when we have a problem, we want to fix it. We want to get rid of it. Like that's that motivator. Like this is so uncomfortable. I got to do something about it right now. So like not addressing the problem at all. Okay, why am I going to invest in you? Like, like how do I know you can actually help me? How do I know you actually understand what I'm feeling and what I'm currently going through? So I thank you for sharing that. Because like I said, like I've been seeing a lot more people talking about like ethical sales copy and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, tell us more. What does that mean? What does that look like and everything? So let's get into launching. I know that people have a lot of thoughts and feelings when it comes to like whether or not you should live launch or lean into doing like more of like evergreen. And so tell us what the difference is between, live launching and doing like an evergreen launch or evergreen funnels. And what are the pros and cons of both?
This is a great question. So a lot of people are selling the funnel because it's very juicy and desirable. So a lot of business leaders are, they're selling the funnel as, have automatic sales every week, evergreen, skip the exhaustion of live launching. And that's their sales angle is like, you need a funnel. It's not that they're wrong. They're not. It's that an entrepreneur has to go through phases to get there. I have seen the graveyard of half-baked funnels and it's huge. It's huge. There's just probably hundreds of thousands of half-baked funnels. And it's really devastating when you're a small business to pour that much time, energy, and resources into a funnel that does not perform, that's to an offer that's actually not a winning offer, that's actually not positioned well, and that's actually not going to make you, it doesn't have any longevity. So what I like to tell my clients is that I've seen this work for me and I've seen this work for other leaders. And I like to tell them, live launch your offer first, gather all that data. You'll have the bones of your assets, your marketing assets developed through that live launch. You'll have been forced to put your head down and come up with the heart of the story for this offer, the positioning, the copy, the emails, right? The social posts if you're doing social, or the podcast episodes if you're doing podcast. You'll have to do that work, that strategic work of executing the psychology of that live launch, because the psychology is in a live launch and the psychology is in the funnel, either or. There's psychology there and there's differences, but still there are those assets from a live launch can be transferred over to a funnel later and optimized. So I suggest my clients live launch first. They get the data, they have those marketing assets, and then depending on how the launch went and depending on how many changes or tweaks or shifts need to be made, if it's ready to go to funnel stage, it's ready. If it's not, it's not. So I'm the kind of, consultant or strategist who would say, you need to do another live launch for us before we funnel this, or you're good. We can turn this into a funnel depending on how it went, depending on what's going on. So that's my approach to saving business owners time and wasted money. I won't create a funnel for a client for an unvalidated offer. I just can't in good conscience do that. I don't want to take a client's money to do a funnel for an unvalidated offer ever. I also don't like to be brought on for launch copy if the offer's been unvalidated. So I like them to if it's beta or not beta, whatever it is, how many people have been through it, then come to me for that next level, copy. That next level. Let me help you maximize this and really get the biggest return on your, on your efforts here. So those are some of the phases that I recommend.
I love that. And again, it goes back to that offer, right? Like the best copy in the world is not going to fix a bad offer. Like if you guys take away anything, take away that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the people who get to the funnel, the high performing funnel the fastest are the ones who are experimental and they allow themselves to really listen to their readers and their audience and they really tune into what they're saying. I'm a big believer in creating offers. I'm a big believer in selling my idea and then creating the offer with people live, custom to them. It saves me so much time and energy. Now I have clients who they will press me like, hey, I want to create this digital offer. And I'm like, cool, sell it, then create it based on who signs up. You will save yourself so much time and energy. It'll be custom to those people. It'll be a high impact for them. You will skip a whole phase as opposed to creating some kind of thing that has like 20 videos and it's like you created it in a vacuum where it's just you and your recording. That's my take. But again, I've seen the graveyard of offers and I've seen it. I've seen a lot of things.
You're so right. I'm currently doing that with my newest offer. It's called the Social Detox Accelerator. And it's like a 3-month group program where we're focusing on leveraging your podcast and email to increase your visibility and sell your offers. And I don't have it fully planned out yet. I just sold the idea and I already have 5 people in. They're like, I'm in. Yes, this is what I need for 2025 and all of that. And so it's true. It's like when you really focus on serving your audience and really getting to know them and what they want, you will find that offer. Like even with my membership, that came from my audience, what they were telling me, like doing the market research, having those conversations. And I built the membership for them, So instead of you coming up with these ideas, talk to your people, do that market research, find out what they want, what they need right now. And you will be able to create that offer that you could eventually, like you're saying, create those funnels for and it work for you and whatnot.
Yeah, I love that. That sounds, I checked out the title of, is it called the Social Media Detox you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it and I was intrigued. I was intrigued about that. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. Okay, so talking a little bit more about funnels and live launching, I'm curious like what you're seeing right now in the industry, as far as like what's working, what people are doing and all of that.
Yes. Okay. So I have one client right now who is doing incredible with her lead gen strategy of in-person events and networking. So the people coming into her funnel are not just warm, they're very, like you would say, hot on the scale. Like these people connected with her in person, they are like deeply connected to her. And so these people coming into her funnel, like she's got sales going crazy right now. That's kind of a different lead gen strategy than a lot of what we're taught, because it requires getting in the room and buying tickets to events and going to networking and things like that. And so that's, that's not typically what we're seeing online. We're seeing more of like, the online strategies that allow you to kind of work remote, be home. I think people are craving in-person connection. Like we're still in that post 2020 vibe, even though we're a couple years out, it's still people like that rich in-person connection. I have another client who her funnel, I believe, is performing the way it is because it has all the right elements. It has urgency, which I do use with my clients. If it's natural and honest urgency that an offer or opportunity is going away, I do use that. The funnels and the offers that don't have natural urgency do not perform as well as the ones that do across the board. So her funnel has natural urgency. She's got a well done sales page. She has a lot of funnel emails. People will go to do a funnel and they'll have half the amount of emails they actually need. You need more emails. A lot of the time, the funnels I see, I'm like, we need more on the close, more emails. This particular leader is also using SMS, text messaging in between her emails. So I think that's part of her strategy to just be top of mind with her readers. I think that there are so many different kinds of funnels so that it's hard for me to say across the board, right? There are funnels that go to like scalable group programs. There are funnels that lead to booking a call if you're a service provider. There's a lot of different types of funnels, and I can give different recommendations based on what the offer is. I'm working on one that's just, we could talk about so much. I'm working on one for me that is a person will download my services menu. So they're just putting in their email address just to get my services menu. And I'm actually gathering their Instagram handle, when they sign up. And I'm going to send a personal outreach like, hey, I saw you downloaded the menu, let me know if you have any questions, and just make contact. I have a very consultative selling process. And so clients have existing systems, existing offers, and they have copy needs. And in order to know what they need, I need to be like in a conversation with them. So I'm looking to be a little bit more, I guess, upfront about starting the conversation. But does that answer your question?
It does. One of the things I'm seeing too is that like buyers want more of kind of like that FaceTime. So like whether that's doing, like you said, in-person networking, or how you're approaching it where you're initiating the conversation, you're reaching out, people are craving more of that. And so that's something I've been seeing too in the online space, just finding those ways that you can connect more and build that relationship even more. Like it's not enough to just be showing up on socials. Like people really want to get to know you and kind of just make sure that they vibe well with you in general before they invest in everything. So yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah, there's actually one more thing I was thinking about that I'm seeing really working well. So it's my opinion that a number of buyers and people online have become more skeptical of industry leaders. Maybe they've signed up for something and they've gotten burned. Maybe they haven't been able to get a refund when they told they were going to get one. Maybe it was a bad fit coach who charged high ticket and didn't really deliver. Who knows what it was? But what I'm finding is having a low ticket, and this is my opinion, some people don't like this opinion, having an offer that's like $197 or less that allows a lurker, a curious person, to get in your world and understand your philosophies, your values, your take, sees how you deliver, sees your professionalism, allows you to feel you out. having them buy something $197 or less, and then having them, kind of dropped into a sales sequence that would pitch a higher ticket, thing that I'm seeing working a lot right now.
Yes, I agree 100%. Having those feeder offers, that's essentially like for my newest offer, all of the people who are in it right now, they came directly from the membership. So my membership is kind of like that low ticket offer. And it's so true. Like I serve my people so well in the membership. So when I throw out a new offer and I invite them, they're on it. They want to be a part of it because they've gotten to know me. They know how well I serve them. They know what they're going to get and everything. So I agree. Having that low ticket offer, like you said, for the lurkers or the people who they're kind of feeling you, but they're not 100% sure, but just having, kind of like they can make a safe investment, fill you out, and then go from there. So yeah, that's another good one. So as we wrap up, if you can share any tips for the mama who maybe she's just not sure she wants to set up, evergreen funnels or do live launches, like any additional tips that you may have, like you've given us so much, and this has been such a good conversation, but if you have any last minute tips, please share them.
Wow. Yeah. I think that for the mamas listening, what I would recommend is really doing the experimental work to discover what scalable offer feels like the best fit for you. You may already have a scalable offer that feels good. You may have an offer that demands a lot of one-on-one time, that demands a lot of time at the computer. Maybe it's just taking too much energy from you right now. I would invite you to really sit down and get real with yourself about what you want your week to look like. And I know, Andrea, that you're really good at doing this, that you have this clarity and this decisive power around this. But sometimes moms need a little bit of prompting to get real about the way their week isn't working for them. As moms, we need to be emotionally available to our children. Usually there's some kind of cooking healthy food, dealing with meal prep, just maintaining our home's peaceful atmosphere. All these kinds of things are so important. And there's also taking care of ourselves and our bodies and our minds, getting fresh air, walking. You deserve to have a week that leaves you feeling refreshed and mentally nourished. You deserve to have space in your calendar. And so I would invite you to just get really serious about sitting down and really zoning in on an offer that allows you to have that ideal schedule, whether it's a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis. I find a lot of clients get really bogged down with offers that don't have as much leverage, and they have to kind of swim their way to in a difficult swimming, like swimming through the mud almost to get to that scalable offer place. I wouldn't say to be hard on yourself about this. I would say it's just part of the process. But what is that offer that feels really good in terms of like your capacity, the delivery? Don't be afraid to set it up the way that you want on the back end. That would be my advice.
Love that. Such good advice. Okay, one question I love to ask my guests is who is one coach or mentor who's had a major impact on your journey as a mom in business?
Wow. Okay. Wow. Let me think about this. There's been so many. One coach or mentor. Gosh, I feel that I've kind of been in this mentorless place recently, which I know, is a natural season sometimes when you're finding your new season or chapter. I think that, this is a tough question. See, a couple of my mentors have changed directions recently, and I actually shifted out of mentorship with one person because I have been going back and forth myself about, do I want to scale via the agency model or do I want to scale via, group programs?
Mm-hmm.
I would say I really like Taylor Lee and her approach to sales and transparent sales. She's been in my periphery for years. Actually, I had her on my podcast years ago. I love to see her lean into her leadership. She has definitely inspired me with, her journey with a lot of things that, you would use as excuses not to succeed, like her age when she was getting started, or just, hardship or clients. Really, the more we grow in business, the more likelihood that there are people that are disappointed with us, that the more refund requests, we may have, the more challenges customer service wise we may have. And I love watching her in her leadership as she navigates these different things, knowing that at the end of the day, you say to yourself, I'm enough. I did my best. I can't please everyone. And, you have to have your own self that way. So I think this is that'll be my shout to Taylor Lee. Years ago, I took her course, Transparent Sales, which was wonderful and a great foundation for the work I'm doing today.
Awesome. So tell us about the free resource you have for listeners. It's called The 3 Sales Messaging Mistakes. So tell us what it is and why we should download it.
Yeah, so this is a brief PDF, like very quick breakdown of 3 of the top sales messaging mistakes that I see my clients make. And it just takes you through, really briefly, those mistakes. And then there are some emails breaking down, like following the PDF, there are some emails that break down my thoughts further. So you would want to download this if you want to make sure your copywriting is on point, and if you want to make sure that you're not making these mistakes, because they really do slow down sales or make sales feel hard. And when sales feel hard, you lose your steam and your momentum, and you can spiral down. So we want sales to feel flow, easeful, and like we're rolling a snowball downhill, not like we're pushing a snowball uphill,
Yes. That sounds amazing. That's going to be linked in the show notes. So make sure you guys go and download it. Well, thank you so much, Jillian. This was such a good conversation. Please tell listeners where they can connect with you and learn more about your services.
Yes, thank you so much. So if you go to www.jillian-anderson.com, that's where you'll find all of the things. And you can find me at Jillian A. Anderson on Instagram. And I also am the host of the Vital Mother podcast, where I have conversations like this. And I have guests on who are holistically minded. It's a mix of like business growth and holistically minded moms who are building businesses that allow them to be present with their children and be the moms that they want to be. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Well, I will link all of that in the show notes. But thank you again, Jillian, just for sharing with my audience. You did not hold back, and I truly appreciate that. So thank you again.
You're so welcome. It was my pleasure.
Hey, Mama. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me. I would love to keep the conversation going. So head to mamaturnmompreneur.com/marketing without socials to join my email community. I share even more tips and strategies for building a business that doesn't rely on social media and one that fits your current season of life, as well as more behind the scenes of mom and business life. All right, Mama, that's it for today, but I'll catch up with you again next week.